Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Virtual Thursday's Dire Literary Series. And tonight, my special guest is a friend of mine, a gentleman that I've written with, M.K. Jackson. And let me uh, let me tell you a little bit about him. I was shooting the shit with him, and I couldn't get to his webpage, which is usually that's where I get the bio. But I just happen to have his book here. Do you
It
have a
yeah,
bu
the bio's not just a bunch of nonsense. So it's
The
probably
bio's a bunch of
it's
nonsense.
not gonna do you any good anyway.
Um, He's authored countless resumes, several essays, and numerous unfinished books, including Baby's First Exorcism, Testicular Manslaughter, and 100 Years of Mold and Mildew. So, but this is the book, the real book, and it's aimed for the middle. And you know what? I'm gonna aim for basically my there we go. There we go. I'm gonna aim for this. That doesn't help either. See, this is what happens when you do it every other week.
Yeah,
Like
you gotta tighten this up.
shit just
That
hang
that
on.
right there.
Shit happens. There we go. So there's aim for the middle. And Michael is going to read for a few minutes and then we are going to grill him. Did you know you were going to read?
I've seen your show other ones, so I assumed that I would, so I thought I'd maybe read part of the introduction.
That's a good choice.
Always start from the beginning.
All
How
right.
about
Let me turn it
okay.
on over to you.
Okay, thank you, Tim. So I'll begin with the introduction, kind of right skip into a little bit. An Amazon book search for success returns over 60,000 results for success. Happiness also nets over 60,000, and query for love gets over 70,000. Obviously, they're all very popular topics. By contrast, searching for eating vegetables will get you a comparatively minuscule 10,000 returns. However, while most of the books and their authors do indeed connect the dots between success, happiness, and love, and an awesome kick ass new life, there is a devious catch. These books deliver the goods only if you exert maximum effort, and that means working hard, really hard. You think reading an entire book would be asking enough of a person, but these tomes also require goal setting, journaling, workbooking, drafting plans, keeping calendars, taping shit to your bathroom mirror, and waking up early at an ungodly hour to do it all. Some of these self help programs even require you to exercise physically. Fortunately, if you don't like to read, you can listen. There are countless audiobooks and podcasts unlocking the doors to success, happiness, and love. But be forewarned, the bait and switch here, because just because they're easier to listen and read than reading, don't think you're off the hook. You still have to get up early to set goals, journal, and accomplish a lot of other ridiculously difficult shit. And I don't mean crap like eating more vegetables or calling your friends more often. I'm talking about inane pursuits like landing your dream job, making $1 million, and losing weight. Just one of those things is a lifelong pursuit of never ending agony and disappointment. But all three at once? Are you a watcher rather than a listener? YouTube has thousands of videos on success, happiness, and love. You might find something value inside that digital sludge, but I doubt it. Now that everyone's pocket phone has a movie camera, anyone with a half baked opinion can post a video. And that means there's a lot of crap out there. Unfounded theories, axe grindings, revenue streams, and auditions become the next big influencer. More often than not, the purpose of these videos is to build the creator's brand, not yours. Do you prefer modern tools for success, happiness, and love? You're in luck. There's an app for that. Actually, scores of them. Coaching apps, motivational apps, journaling apps, goal setting apps, and entrepreneurial apps, apps for planning, apps for scheduling, and apps for accounting. There are even apps for making apps. Trouble achieving happy balance between your personal and professional life? No problem. There are health apps, fitness apps, lifestyle apps, affirmation apps, and calming apps, apps with relaxers, mood trackers, and white noise makers, wellness apps, mindful apps, meditation apps, and even breathing apps in case you forgot how to breathe. Maybe you're looking for love or the next best thing for an hour or two. Finding that perfect someone has never been easier. With the right app, you can just custom order a soulmate like you would a pizza. There are dating apps, hookup apps, adultery apps, apps for young love, apps for old love, and apps for medium love. Straight apps, gay apps, bisexual apps, transgender apps, asexual apps. And if things don't work out between you and your cybermate, don't sweat it. You can start all over again with a divorce app. With all this information readily accessible by reading, listening, watching, and swiping, you'd think finding success, happiness, and love in the 21st century would be a snap or a tap. But it seems the more books, blogs, podcasts, programs, seminars, webinars, videos, and apps, the wider, deeper, and colder the chasm becomes. So if your journey into self-improvement has you searching for an easier pathway to success, happiness, and love, one of minimal effort for commensurate results, you've come to the right place. And what does this book have that others' books don't? Actually, it's what those other books have that this one doesn't: hard work. This book gives the boot and the finger to all those ineffectual cornerstones of the self-help industrial complex, including journaling, goal setting, affirmations, and worst of all, waking up early in the morning just to journal, goal, and affirm. Within these pages, you'll discover the mediocrity principle, scientific evidence that mediocre performance is humanity's default and your cosmic birthright. Imagine how amazing you'll feel once the oppressive weight of overachievement is finally lifted from your shoulders. The 5 or 6 destructive beliefs preventing you from achieving success, happiness, and love. Subconscious, self-sabotaging thinking like try harder, dream bigger, you can do anything you put your mind to. These ruinous notions that waste your valuable time while setting you up for ultimate failure. And the 5 pillars of an adequate life, easy to understand, even easier to master, principles for a more realistically attainable life of success, happiness, and love, built on a foundation of not quitting, but not trying too hard either. With these pillars, you'll understand the complete folly of chasing that cryptozoological creature known as the perfect life. It's exhausting, excruciating, and pointless. Aim for the middle is your wake-up call with a snooze button. If you're willing to do less than it takes to create a life that's good enough, you'll achieve dreams far below your wildest expectations. So come on, give it a shot. What have you got to lose? I mean, you already brought the book. You have a rendezvous with mediocrity.
You know, that was wonderful. This is such a great book and it's so well written. How much of it is actual like self-help parody? 100%? Does it ever ring toward non-parody?
I think that inside of it, there's something in there that's real and something you can. I, First of all, I don't think it's anything new. I mean, people have probably heard this before. I think a lot of times it's how you repackage it. Is it interesting? And certainly some people want get up early, drive, drive, drive. The Tony Robbins, very intense. Some people want something a little more spiritual, a little more relaxing and calming, and then some people maybe want the humor, and that's the way I decided to approach it, is through the humor. And I think they're basically a lot of these things are true, but they're sort of wrapped in parody, like you said. Um, that's yeah. I'll go with
Yeah, I
that.
mean, what I see is that like, yeah, like this is so much like you aim for the middle, like that can really, really help people, but you're definitely you're not short on the wit. Barbara asks, how did you come up with the idea for this book?
It's well, I think the this is not the life I wanted. That chapter is basically uh, a straightforward telling of it. It happened when I got a little older in life. I decided I'll try to make this really quick, but I got a half hour. I can ramble on all I want, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I When I got in my late 40s, I decided it was time to grow up. So I've always been a late bloomer. And at that point, I went and got a real management level job. I found the person of my life. We got married, uh, and I had put money away in the bank. That all of these things that were really what you should do, and that would be the definition of success and happiness in life. And then what happened was the pandemic hit, and a lot of these things, through no recourse of my own, just basically disappeared. And then for other reasons too in life, I lost my job. My wife and I divorced, and there were several other things that happened that put me in a position where I felt anything but successful, happy, and loved. And then when I started thinking about these things, I began to look at why that was, and that's what led me down this journey of what makes someone successful, happy, and loved? What definitions are we using? In addition to that, what is the transitory nature of these things? And more importantly, we get into aim for the middle. What are we really cut out for to be in life? A lot of things I feel a lot of times we're pushed to be the best we can, the greatest, the number one. But the reality is, and I know this for myself, not all people are that level of excellence in life, and it's really unfair, really, to hold oneself to that level if you're not that. And I just was very blunt as I got older, and a lot of it was, yeah, I'm not going to quit. I just don't really feel like trying that hard anymore. So just a lot of these different thoughts kind of went
It's
together.
really hard to sustain the self-depreciation part of this book because it's sort of self-depreciation of self-help, and also to keep the wit going. Do you ever wake up in the morning and just be like, well, you know what, I just can't do it today. I can't sustain the theme of this book.
Yeah, every day. You know, it's always that's what is it? It's do as I write, not as you read or whatever, you know, something like that. I don't I, I- yeah, but at the end of the day, really what I hope people would get from this is that's why there's a whole chapter there about self-love. You are who you are. It's okay. And if I wake up this day and I just don't feel like that's fine. And if I do, even better. So it's really, I think at the bottom level of this, the bottom line of this is just not self-depreciation, but self-acceptance and self-appreciation, maybe.
There's a question from Eric the Vibe that I certainly don't understand, so it might be over my head. Any plans to smuggle your book into Lumen? And how do you think aim for the middle would influence the behavior of the innies? Oh, and do you
Have
watch?
I have no idea what he's talking about. I told you that he's a crackpot, and I
He
have
just
no idea
put
what he's saying.
questions in there just to confuse me.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's saying.
All right, I'll use this.
I will say it means a lot to him, but that's okay.
So tell us a little bit about the process of this book. You said it started basically from a single chapter. Did you have to expand in both directions? Like, when did you decide, like, okay, this is what it's going to be, and this is what I need to do?
Yeah, actually, it started in our writing group. It was basically journaling every day. That's the irony of this thing. I mean, you know, you don't take
That
it
is
at face
irony.
value. You don't take it at face value. I mean, obviously, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't write or that's part of the humor. I think going way overboard on something, and you kind of get that. It's like, well, I don't think it's that level, but it's like Doctor Strangelove. You watch that movie and things are so over the top they don't really mean it's not really meant that way, but you're supposed to somehow get some truth sussed out from it. But it started in our writing group because of the pandemic. When I was laid off, I felt either I just don't do anything, or I can find something positive to do to help kind of deal with all that was happening to me, and that's where I started working on it and just started journaling in it, thinking about my life and thinking about different things and how I was going to make the comeback, you know, back to work, back to a relationship, back and just realized, oh man, I'm exhausted. I can't do this again. And so I figured there's got to be a quicker path.
Yeah, the a writing group and the pandemic and having time was great for writing. Now, you left our group. I was very disappointed when you got a job because then you left
Yeah,
us.
right, exactly.
So,
Stupid book. Damn thing works. I had to leave.
so when you got a job, the book wasn't finished. So, how did you fit that into your schedule? And was it difficult to work a job and basically fill your head up with all the constructs of that job and then go back into the book?
Yeah, you know what I'll tell you the secret to being to writing, if you have other things to do, public transportation. I'm not kidding, 100%. When I talk about getting my MFA, so I had another way not to gain employment. I got an MFA taking Los Angeles public transportation because it was many hours of going back and forth where I was writing, and I did the same with this. Frankly, my job required me to commute, so I didn't commute in a car. I commuted on public transportation. It gave me 3 to 4 hours a day sometimes, depending on traffic and all, to write. And I would just sit there and on the train and write, and you know, I get a little good long stretch of travel, and I wrote that way. And as you know, Tim, as well as anybody else, those people listening, I'm sure they feel similar. There's a lot of writers. It's just you enjoy writing. You have to do it, so you make time to do it. You know, I did on the weekends, of course. in the evenings. And if I write one page, that's okay. That's why it took long. It took longer than I wanted, but I was always cool with that. I aimed for the middle, even on when I was writing the book. I didn't really post how many pages I had to do this day. Just do it.
Yeah, I remember writing a book on the commuter train, and my writing got influenced by conversations going on around me, and
Oh,
suddenly
right.
worked their way to. Did you find that phenomena working within your book?
Um, I found I would write other things. It would distract me from writing. I would see something happen on the bus, which I would not talk about here on your family show. But on the bus
But
and
this is
train,
my
the things I
family
would,
show.
it's not a family show. I know who you are, Tim. I know it's not. I would see things on the trainers or people were doing or saying it would make me kind of veer off and start writing like a little essay on something else or whatever. But yeah, but you write all the time. I'll take my phone and if I'm it was a time where I was also writing walking a lot too. Part of it was, and I would just walk down the street and I just dictate things I had and send myself the note and put it right into the book. So you just collect it all around you.
Now, did you also have like an anti self-help book? In other words, is there any self-help books or self-help theories that you think is complete bullshit? So that way, when you wrote your book, you were able to sort of
Mm.
feed on what not to do.
Yeah, just back off a little. I mean, this idea that everybody has the same standard, like this is the great. I was kind of mentioned there is kind of, and that's what I'm saying that the parody thing you pointed out, satire of it, is that they're all kind of like one size fits all. I mean, everybody's best is this best. And it's not true. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that everybody's going to be president or everybody can be a doctor or everybody can be well, I think everybody's creative, but I don't have the brain to become a doctor. You would not want me being your doctor. It's a bad idea. I would not be good at it. I can't. That's not where my brain works. And so
Well,
this
that's
idea
about
that,
cardiologist because you could aim for the middle right there. Like if
well,
you're a brain surgeon, that wouldn't work.
that's right. That was one thing after this book is finished, I had to go through double bypass heart surgery. So I was writing the book while I was doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, this is even more of a reason why you have to aim for the middle, because this isn't my level. I'm watching all these people. That level of excellence is not me. But I mean, I think the question you're asking is just, I think the simple answer is that they're one size fits all. I thought as I read all of these things, and not everybody is that way. Not everybody needs to be of that level, nor can everybody achieve that level. And it's okay. It's who you are, and really your happiness and success will follow when you're being who you are, not like who somebody's trying to mold you into. So.
Now, when right before you went into the double heart bypass, did you have a moment that you thought, "Damn, I'm not going to be able to finish this book"?
Um, Yeah, yeah, because you start thinking stupid things like if I don't come out of this and I don't wake up, that was a lot of wasted time on that. Didn't want to get done. I would leave it to Barbara and have her or you. Yeah, next time I'm gonna leave it to one of you guys and have you finish my next book or something for me. But no, it was frankly I wasn't thinking about that actually. I was thinking more about I hope this guy has a higher level of excellence than I do.
Paul Sen asks, he enjoys your take on the motivation industry. Does your book consider the challenge of staying motivated while being in the middle? Is there a challenge there?
No, not at all. Because that's the whole thing about the middle. I don't have to be motivated to be that. That's. But actually, you know what? I'm going to rescind that a little bit. That's a good question because I talk about this in the book. I said the middle is not the bottom anymore. It's the top. I'm not saying throw in the towel. What we're saying is there's that comfort zone. So I think I don't really have to try to stay at the middle, but there are things in the book, funny tests that you take to make sure you're not going too low, but you're not trying too hard either. It's pacing yourself, But I would say to answering that question, no, I can handle the middle pretty good. I'm pretty good at the middle. Now, if you're at the bottom, this book would be probably a lot of work for you. And if you're at the very top, this seems like you're throwing in the towel probably, but right in the middle, no, I can
It
handle
was
it.
great. You were talking about the funny tests, which I enjoyed greatly. Your advice around the funny tests were use one sheet of paper for each question, otherwise it's journaling. So
Exactly. Yes. In fact, I put that in there. I was very, because there's a tricky thing. You have to walk your talk. And if you're telling people not to journal, don't be journaling. And anytime you assemble more than one piece of paper into a collective unit, that's technically journaling. So I always make sure you use one piece of paper and then flip it over for the other chart. But there's a little work involved in it. But like I said, I think at the base, it's fun. It's just basically controlling the wind or controlling your sails since you can't control the wind.
now, do
That
you
a lot.
consider ChatGPT or AI being in the middle?
Um, yeah, that's a good because I put those quotes at the beginning of the book. My
Yes.
friend, my friend ran this book through ChatGPT and said, "Here's what they're saying about your book." And I said, "There you go. There's my blurbs. I'm going to put those right in." Actually, at my job I have now, we use it a lot. I think it's pretty much aiming for the middle. Yeah, because it doesn't really include a lot of excellence, but it's a little better than bottom level. Yeah.
Karen Klein's once said, "Do you keep those pieces of paper which you wrote on? I guess the your journals."
I do actually. I still yeah, they're still little collected pieces all around, and I stick them in the book, and yeah, they fall out a lot.
Now, do you find that you have any trauma yourself around journaling? Like your advice is not to journal, but you did journal. So, is
I
there
did.
journal? How is journaling considered near the top versus the middle?
It's because it's something that it leaves a record of your failure. That's the way I looked at it. It said, I'm writing all this stuff down that I'm going to come. I used to journal like in a diary, like a Moleskine diary at the beginning of every year. And I could talk about this in the book. It's exaggerated the book, but it's pretty true. I create these complex goals I was going to have for the entire year. And every year after year after year, they were the same goals I looked at. So I basically, that top level is like when you're writing that, you're putting it down and they say put it down so it's in writing and you'll be held responsible and all these sort of things. I found that for me, it's better just to like write down one broad idea. Like this year, I'm going to finish my book. That was all I did for one year. This year I'm going to whatever something very simple, and I give myself very like middling goals for the year.
I mean,
Um,
a great goal is, on the top of the paper, you just write, the goal is write down the same goals as last year, and then you're done.
Right, exactly. Just so basically have like a little ticker at the top, you just change the year. The goals all stay the same. I just changed I was doing that. Yeah.
Drop down menu.
Tim, I found an old journal when I used to. That's why I was so anti-journaling because it was more of like the insanity I was putting myself in. I found an old journal like from 2003, and I read it, and it was like the same shit I was writing for this year, or when I was looking at. Because this is the same. How many goals can I accomplish in 25 years? The answer is none. So that I just kind of realized it was probably a little more, like I said, a record of the failure more than anything else.
Well, what I know of you from our writing group, you're a very keen critiquer. You're very excellent. So when you were writing the book and reviewing it for yourself as a self-critique, is that kind of self-help?
Is it self a critique on the writing or critique on me?
No, on the writing. Like, since you're not
Oh,
using an editor, did you use an editor for your book or was it
I
self-help?
I had it. Yeah, well, it can't be self-help if you're having somebody. What is that George Carlin quotes? Brilliant at the beginning. Um, I it was funny because I'm a bad. No, I overachieve on that because Tim, as you know, everything I do is so great. It's so perfect. To deprive humanity of my brilliance would just be a crime. And so I made sure that when I didn't edit anything. It's all gold and it all needs to be in the book. So next time I'm going to pay you to go through and edit the book. Do not edit your own self. It's the worst thing. You just they say they kill the baby sort of thing where you got to just get and there's not enough of that here. But yeah, you're right. It would be self help. That's good self reflexive property. Yeah.
So who are your writing heroes?
Hmm. I don't know. I like I was late on the late party to Bukowski. I really loved his humor. I think everybody painted him as a this drunken guy, Skid Row, wino, right? He's just very, very, very funny. I also enjoy reading because of the historical perspective. But I like Hunter Thompson's stuff a lot because I really like the idea of sort of like a journalism approach to stories. They're nonfiction that they kind of have a little fiction kind of bled into them, and I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy his writing a lot. And as far as relaxing, enjoying, I love reading James Ellroy's stuff. I enjoy his crime novels a lot, and yeah, that's about
Is
it.
is the community of writers that we have now in this country, are they kind of killing off the possible modern Bukowskis, the modern Hunter Thompsons?
I'm not the guy to ask about that, but I would definitely think, I don't know. What do you, as in what way would that be? Can you say?
Like, can you imagine Bukowski in an MFA program or Hunter Thompson in an MFA program?
Well, Bukowski went to the city college, Los Angeles City College, right? So at least
He
he
slept.
went
He
right
slept
for the
a
middle,
lot.
didn't he? He went right to the city college. He didn't, you know, didn't go anywhere, didn't go higher, but stayed there. Yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe, I don't know. I don't want to, I'm not a political guy that way, but I think maybe just we have to watch out that people don't get too, I think that the amount of lack of censorship they had to do is probably something to have to contend with today, maybe that there, there's some pretty rank stuff in their books that are very funny, but might be offensive today and maybe not accepted and censored, canceling, maybe for a better word.
Last questions from Karen. Speaking of nonfiction, were we speaking of nonfiction?
Yeah, I said
Uh,
that was the thing with Thompson. He was a nonfiction. I enjoy nonfiction writing, and people like the Sedaris and a lot of different
Alex Sedera.
folks
So
who are
speaking of
very.
nonfiction that has a lot of fiction in it, have you ever read The Things They Carried?
I have not, and I'm going to write that down now.
Yeah,
I'm
that
always interested in what people say.
yeah, I that's an excellent book. Um, but I think we are out of time. It's
Oh no.
7:30, but
Well, I
let's
spent so long writing this book, all those years, and I get 30 minutes.
it's just the show. All
That
right,
just seems unfair.
what do you
Seems
all
like you're
right.
aiming for the
What are
middle.
you working on next? Do you have another book in you?
I I have a couple of things I'm working on, but I don't know what it's going to be yet. I do have a little thing I'm going to come out with called the Mediocrist's Maintenance Guide. It's going to follow up to this. It's going to be a little easy book. Just like certain things that you can do to maintain yourself, like random acts of mediocrity, writing your own mediocre obituary now, so you can kind of live a reverse engineer your life. Basically, all it is, Tim, is it's stuff I cut out of this book that I'm just going to publish as a second book pamphlet. That's really, I think, aiming for the middle as much as you can do there.
What about aiming for the middle in spirituality?
Um,
I'm talking about church in general. The church is always aiming high. Do you think they should not aim as high? Like maybe we should be striving for purgatory.
Purgatory, if you're Catholic, yeah, we all do. But yeah, sure. I talk about a little religion a little bit in the book, but I think a lot of religions do actually aim for the middle more than they think they do, and they're all a lot of them are pretty good at it. Religion, spirituality, I'm not sure.
All right. So Mr. M.K. Jackson, also known as Michael. There's the book and Barnes and Noble site. Is it also on bookshop.org?
Yes, it is. And
Okay.
if you're in Los Angeles, it's also at Book Soup and Romans and in my neighborhood, North Figueroa Bookshop has it as well,
So if
and
you
Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Yeah.
so if you want to support the independent bookstores, bookshop.org, or some of those independent bookstores that Michael just mentioned, thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome and that was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful to see you again, and wonderful to see Barbara and all of some the again. It's you guys look great. You guys are. I can't wait to read your next book. I know it's coming out. What's your book called, Tim? Plug it.
It's called Shadows of the Scene, and
Excellent.
it has of course I'm trying to bring up my silly backdrop, but all I can do is there it is.
Yeah.
So that's coming out on May 14th. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, I love your writing. I always did. So I look forward to. I loved your poetry as well. I don't know good from bad poetry, but I know what I like, and I liked it very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And
Mhm.
folks that are watching the stream on Facebook or any of the other devices they're watching on, if you'd like to come in for the open mic, first of all, I want to thank you for watching. If you'd like to come in for the open mic, click on the Zoom link and we'll be happy to let you in unless you're a Zoom bomber. And that's next. Mr. MK Jackson, thank you so much for joining us again. Aim for the middle. Wow.
And thank you folks for showing up. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you listening and for questions and all. It was good. Thank you very much.
All right.